What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sunday. We're gonna get into what starts off as some gi footage from this past Thursday, but quickly devolves into everybody's preferred training wardrobe, I guess. All right, let's get into it. And this was a continuation of half guard week, so let's see who's working that today. All right, Justin and one of the twins.
Max
doesn't even bother. He's like, meh.
He was like, at the start of the roll, he was like, "You want to take that off?" I'm like, "It's fine. Just you can make e-grips if you want to. No big deal."
Yeah.
So he does a good job of like going down and snatching up my leg. It's one of the things that I feel people are missing in this single leg is going elbow deep on the grip. Whether it's a single hand or, like the left arm shooting through, whether it's the old style, like the classic jiu-jitsu bear hug of the, of the leg or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
He's just not making a tight enough connection to keep my leg in between his.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to shoot the elbow behind the knee.
Right.
Yeah, Josh, this was Thursday.
What was that?
Josh was asking if it was Thursday's footage.
Yeah,
in the chat.
Thursday.
Caleb and Austin getting after it. See how Austin takes him down, if at all. There we go. That's what I like. So, yeah, this is a case where, like, I mean, I've been in this position with Caleb before and many others. You sag heavy on their hips, you're not going to get them falling backwards. I mean, Austin thinks about it there for a second, trying to go for that like rear Tayatoshi. Realizes Caleb's he's leaning forward, his head is out over his heels, all of his weight is more forward, so he makes the adjustment and hits that little knee block and the shove to get Caleb down to like 4 points and broken down. Good
I
awareness.
like the hip heisting too. That's some really, I'll say. So, yeah, it's right here. So you see how he's emphasizing getting his butt up, and using his shoulders to keep Caleb pinned down on the bottom. That's a huge piece of trying to wrestle up.
Yeah.
Is knowing when to build or how to build hip height, not when. Like, that's a priority.
Yeah.
And Austin does that really well against Caleb there.
No.
So now he has the makings of a Katagatame. I'd like to see, and I don't know whether Caleb has the left arm of Austin trapped in like a Kimura type of a threat, but there shouldn't be any type of threat because Austin's past Caleb's hips.
Yeah.
Either in a mount or some sort of neon belly. I can't tell.
Yeah, he's got the Katagatame. He could spin around possibly and turn this into an armbar as well, or just like a seated head and arm position.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a lot there if Caleb's gonna stay committed to that. I don't know who's rolling with Mitchell. Looks like a
Patrick.
new student. Is that?
Yep, he's a newer student and he's a blue belt.
Gotcha. I may have met him a few weeks ago. I don't recall. How did Caleb get out of there? Okay, so Caleb's had that Kimura the whole time.
Okay.
And that was good. That was just that shrimping escape Bertram really likes to do. I'm surprised he didn't hold on to that leg entanglement. He may have been being nice because of the gi pants. I don't think he would have afforded us the same charity, but
yeah,
he doesn't give Austin any special treatment either.
No.
We're quiet. Like our
like the volume for us or what?
let's see.
Our voices are quiet.
Is that any better? And then yours, I can turn yours up. Give me a test.
Test.
You're definitely coming in louder. And then pinball's mine any better? I could turn it up if I need to.
And mine,
A little.
maybe a little. Interesting.
Check.
I can hear you loud and clear on my, through just me and you.
Yeah, maybe your volume is down, pinball. You ever think of that?
Yeah. What about you, Josh? Can you hear us?
I mean, we're definitely louder now for everybody. We should be.
Okay.
Yeah, let us know. Give us feedback. Just want to look at how this round ended. We were playing with that. So Caleb goes back in on a leg entry. I'm good from the start. All right, whatever. As long as, I mean,
Cool.
if we're louder and you can hear us, it's fine too.
Yeah.
So Caleb was doing really well to prevent De La Hiva. And I think he's got Austin's, it looks like he's got Austin in like the straight ankle grip on the right leg. So he falls back for that because he doesn't know how to pass. I'm just talking smack. He passes me all the time. Nice heavy reap in the gi. Big reap over. That'll get you DQ'd in IBJJF.
Especially Masters.
Grow up, Jordan. This isn't aim. Yeah, so what was the consensus? You can only reap in IBJJF in adult?
Adult, no gi.
Okay.
Yep. Not in Masters.
You watched that. Oh yeah, because you commented on it. The heel hook tibia fracture.
Yeah.
The spiral fracture on that guy's bone. That was so unnerving. You could literally see the way the bone broke in that, because it was it wasn't just a snap. It was that spiral fracture that just leaves such a bad break.
Yes.
It's interesting to me too, because like that just shows the weak point in that whole connection. It was the bone. It wasn't necessarily the knee for him. The knee or the ankle. He was about to get slammed. Still quiet, but crank it up. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're kind of getting into the yellow ranges on my decibel meter, so I don't want to crank it up too much higher.
Tell you that the Twins are very good at they know what they do well, and they are very good at kind of flowing into those positions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was working with them on Saturday, and trying to get them. So one thing they definitely need to work on, and Kurt really wants them to work on, is guillotines, like recognizing when they have guillotines and working on the finishing mechanics. Right here may be a good example, although that's an arm in, which is going to be pretty difficult to do on you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they've got some stuff to work on. I've been there, kid. Oh, he's so mean, dude. But yeah, so they're getting better. They just they're also, I think a few of the kids are working on kind of turning up their aggression. Not just going out clubbing everybody in the head, but being a bit more assertive in their setups, following through on people, winning scrambles, things like that. Big arm bar.
Yeah, I was trying to get him to. So I wasn't feeling as much of a knee pinch when he first started, and when I had talked to him about it, he pinched his knees, and so I wanted to show him the difference. So we're just working on some details for the submissions.
Gotcha. In case Max is watching or watches this later, want him to keep in mind here with Austin, just where his hips are in relation to Austin's hips and why this happens. Right, he's really loading up over top of Austin and really giving Austin full permission to dictate where he goes. I imagine, knowing Max, he's probably really, trying to dig in on under or cross faces. His arms aren't basing out to prevent any sort of sweep here. Yeah, he had a cross face with that left arm. So you got to keep that keep your base kind of in check when you're dealing with an opponent who has both of their legs in like butterfly position. Braden placed first. Gavin placed second at the conference championships. 14-0,
awesome.
Ranked number 1. Dude, that's so awesome, you guys. Congratulations.
That's so sick.
Thanks for sharing that.
Guys. Yes, thank you.
I'm looking forward to having you guys back at class soon and showing us some of your wrestling when you get there. That's sick, man. I'm so proud of you guys.
Very good job. Wow.
You can help the other set of twins with their wrestling and with their tenacity and their aggression. I'm sure they'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, and with the how you were talking about working on guillotines and stuff. I think we mentioned that in the last stream with the Walker twins as well. I think it sets up for a wrestler, like for stand-up, who are very good at snapping and very heavy on the head.
Yeah. Man, if they have some footage of their wrestling, I don't know if they're still on or not, but I'll talk to their folks. If they have some footage of them wrestling, that'd be cool to watch. Not even necessarily to review on here, just to see them dominate.
Man, that's awesome. Can we go back to Max driving in for that takedown on Austin? So head's on the outside. He does a good job of scooping with the right leg, to get that outside trip here. Mm-hmm. But his head is way on the outside. And Austin's, ready for it. He catches and is able to take him over and immediately sweep and, reverse the position.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so something I'm seeing here too is as Max goes in for this, Austin keeps his right leg just outside Max's left leg, and that's gonna prevent Max from getting to the real angle he wants. Anytime you hit these takedowns, so this is, before I go further, this is one of those rules that you get to break later after you've followed it for a while. We talk about hitting single legs with your head on the inside to avoid being guillotined. Once you get comfortable in your guillotine defense, whether you're standing or kneeling or on your back or whatever, you can start to leave your head on the outside and experiment, right? So if Max was in that position now, where he was breaking rules or purposefully breaking rules, he leaves his head on the outside. He needs to get his hips on this side of Austin's body to be safe by the time they hit the ground. Austin knows that, right? When you hold somebody's head and they get cross-side on you, you let the head go because you're not going to guillotine them, and they very well may hit a Von Flue choke on you. So it's not something you want to hold on to. But with Austin blocking that left side, Max's left side, gives him a very, very easy opportunity to hit that sweep. So if I were Max and I was going for this trip, let's see, from the outside trip, this is like I think a Kasoto Gari. Like it's not Osoto. I would disengage this leg soon after like the takedown was happening. Like as they're falling to the mat, I would try to disengage and hop my body over to this side to prevent the reroll. You're going to get perpendicular to him, so he won't be able to reroll you. And to be able to get a quick, if this was a competition, 2-point takedown, 2-point guard pass. So Max has just got to get familiar with some of the physics and mechanics there. I think Caleb and Danny have been going at it. Oh, okay, they're just drilling. Oops, too far. I hate how casually Austin throws up triangles. Fully locked triangles. Granted, Max isn't like as broad-shouldered as Bertram or anything, but I'm still jealous. Oh, you guys have a TikTok? Yes. I'll make note of it. I don't have TikTok, but I'll find it and make some of our other students who do have TikToks follow you guys. And anybody else on here who has TikTok, go follow the Walker Twins. I'm sure it'll be entertaining. Oh, now we're getting serious. Justin took his gi off.
Yeah, I know.
Danny must have said something about his mom or something. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you do have footage and you'd be cool with going over it here, I'd be happy to. We can figure out how to do that. Oh, one of the twins in that step over armbar they love on Austin. Yeah, it's funny. I kind of like how I think Kale likes the armbars, so we'll go with that. Apologies if I'm wrong, guys. I think from when we see people in general hit the armbar from this position, they tend to like they drop to the ground. They would go belly down armbar, maybe start looking to get the other person to roll to finish it on the back. I can't say I've done this, but I'm curious about how awful this might be. Sitting them down like this and extracting that arm and then falling backwards from here. Mm-hmm. Like how much pressure that could put on a shoulder. Like I just feel like we always tend to fall forward from there in the to go belly down.
Yeah, I can't say I know I go for the armbar in that position.
Yeah.
So I would be curious as well.
Awesome. So having none of it.
I think this was Eric that I was training with here, and we were going a lot over hooks. He was in kind of a bad habit of going around the neck and not getting hooks. Yeah. So I was trying to coach him through, and of course a huge size discrepancy between the two of us. But honestly, all the more reason for you to emphasize the legs on this so that he can ride my back and stay attached. So I think I had already taken him over twice, and so we were going over him at least getting one hook in and looking to go in. And of course he cranked it straight across the bridge of my nose.
Nice.
That was really solid.
Yeah, that's they were having that issue too on Saturday when I was training with them. They get a little too overzealous when they get on like turtle position, like right there, just jumping to back. I would say that's the worst version of. I'm glad you shucked them off. That's the worst version of what you do when you get behind somebody. I've said it here numerous times, but definitely recently, talking about driving the knee in underneath your opponent rather than trying to stick the leg in. So if we could, I think if we could get them to focus on that a bit, and I, going against other kids may not play an extremely tight turtle position, so they might be able to sneak a foot in pretty easily. But should they come against resistance, building that habit of leading with the knee, I think would be a good thing for them.
Agreed.
Let's see. Let's go back and look at Danny and Justin here.
So not surprisingly, Danny didn't seem to manage much on Justin's back, I don't believe.
Yeah.
Justin has ridiculous defense from the back.
Yeah, so Danny doesn't have a strangle arm yet. Oh, it looks like he's okay. He decided to go back to the strangle.
Yep. Yeah, I think he lost it just because Justin does such a good job of cutting that angle.
Yeah.
And then great awareness on Justin's part. I mean, for the Katagatame, look how high he sends his arm over. And I think to your point in previous streams, answering the phone in the Katagatame or the arm triangle is not sufficient. The best way that I know to get out of the Katagatame is to do exactly what Justin is doing. Mm-hmm. That's sending the arm straight up and over the forehead of your opponent here. And
yeah.
It clears the strangle.
Yeah, I think the best usage of that motion, like I always refer to it as backstroking, like you're swimming.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like when that clicked as like a fundamental mechanic was trying to get up onto an elbow post and bottom half guard. Like,
yep.
Instead of fighting, like let's say you shot for deep half, it didn't work. How can you get back to an elbow post? People lead with their head where they try to sit up and like crunch up and they can't get their elbow into a powerful spot. But if you just trust yourself to swim backwards, plant the palm of your hand flat and then slide up on your elbow, it makes for a much easier posture change. And then it's, to your point, it's the same kind of mechanic for how Justin defended.
Yep. A little quick call out based off of like last stream, Pat, if you rewind a bit to see this finish. Now he doesn't have the angle that I would like for this triangle on Max, but I want you to look at the finishing mechanic. Or everyone on the stream, Matt, you already know this, right? But so number one, Max is stacking Pat at this point, and so the best way to mitigate this is to start really cutting your angles, right? And I think Pat actually goes the wrong way. He cuts the angle. Yep, he cuts the angle to his right rather than going to his left. But the finish was actually Pat's hips going up and into Max while he's back heeling down to his butt. Last time we went over it, a lot of people tend to do the crunch down to do the finish and pulling on the head. I personally feel like hipping up is a stronger finish. I have a higher success rate there.
Yeah, and the way you'll know if your students or training partners are digging their heels in and hipping up is if there's daylight coming underneath their hips.
Yep.
When their lower back is on the mat, they're doing a very lazy triangle.
Yep.
And if you feel that yourself, if you find yourself looking back through this footage or just in drilling, if you feel like your lower back is on the mat, you're not engaged in your triangle. You need to dig your heels in.
So Danny is really after this head and arm on Justin. Justin is having none of it right now. He's fighting for his right arm here.
Yeah, he looks safe.
Looking good. And he's trying his damnedest to get there.
She was
can't tell whether he has an arm isolated or what.
Yeah, no, it's funny, man. I'm not especially flexible. I like other people may disagree, but I pretty much just get bent into a pretzel, you know, due to other people. I can't do it to myself. So like triangles, I was kind of in the same boat. I didn't think I had like the length on my legs, first off, the flexibility necessarily. But once I learned the real like late stage finishing mechanics, it was like, oh, triangles are as doable for me and anybody else as, you know, Austin here or our more long-limbed training partners. I think for me, the hip mobility, or not the mobility, but the hip height was one thing, but cutting the angle to such a degree that like you were perpendicular to your opponent and like getting as much of their, you know, the shoulder that's still in, you know, the arm that's still in, getting as much of that shoulder out and almost hiding it, thereby making the loop much more narrow than if it's down here and it has to go like, I'm sorry, all the way across here. Like getting that as small as possible by cutting your angle was a huge game changer for me for triangles and darces actually. Like once I learned how to actually get the length, you know, or the depth of the strangle arm in on the darce. I still don't hit them a lot, but they're just doable. I know I could actually do them now.
Yeah, here's literally 6 minutes of me trying to figure out how to cut an angle on Pat, who's way better at hitting foot sweeps than I am.
Did you guys agree to have a stand-up round, or did it just not end up going to the ground?
I refused to go down, and he refused to go down. So nice. It was just, yeah. Later in the night, we have a sit-down round. We agreed to just be on the ground.
Nice. Then we got Mitchell and Justin.
Catches my head low, and I had to circle out of his collar tie there.
Yeah.
But I was really trying to get some sort of positional advantage here to where I can get like perpendicular to him to start hitting some sort of foot sweep. But like notice that my feet are never in proximity of his legs. So like we're in Keikaiatsu here, right? And I still can't close the distance enough to really do anything with that foot sweep.
Yeah, and the grip exchanges here are pretty short-lived too.
Yeah, we're not. He does not want to accept any of mine, and since I am nervous about getting swept or like foot swept here, like I don't want to stick around too long with his collar ties.
Yeah, and so something I try to work with Pat, and I think I've gotten it once or twice. Like he's sharp on it now, and he knows when I'm looking for it. But like since he and I both love foot sweeps, he'll go for one on me. Like I'll kind of leave my foot out a little bit. He'll go to sweep. I'll just pull my foot back enough for his to whiff by my leg, and then I take that opportunity to hit mine. So I haven't even swept his foot. I just catch it because he went past my leg. I then go to block it or keep it there, and then I hit like that, you know, kind of collar drag. I guess sasei or sasai, Tsubami Geishi. That is a new one. I need to write that down. Tsubami Geishi. Interesting. Is that, I guess that's what I was describing with like the fake, or not the fake, but like the baited foot sweep and then catching him by. Yeah, but then something else you guys can do. Gotcha. Oh no, I'm gonna beat that into the ground now, and thank you. My students and training partners already hate it enough. Um, what was I saying? Oh, another thing you could try to think about, both of you, for these setups. I mean, you're kind of, you both seem to be going directly for it, right? Like you spent a lot of this round primarily working one takedown, with a few, varied setups like up top.
Yep.
But man, I mean, you've been good on double legs and single legs. People should fear your double leg at this point, or at least be nervous about it. Like, try setting up some level changes to get him stepping. Get stepping back, getting his head out in front of his feet, hit him with the snap down, right? He, in order to counteract that snap down, he has to come towards you, get his feet back underneath him. As he's getting his feet back underneath him, you go in for a foot sweep or something, or the Russian tie. You guys were doing collar ties a whole lot in this round, collar ties and over ties. From here, like that, I think, with Ronnie a few weeks ago, we saw that exchange where she collar tied me, I over tied her. She reached across to clear it. I, took that arm out and ended up going for a go behind or whatever. But those sorts of upper body exchanges leave people's feet static and loaded up. That was some nice violent little head shaking.
I was noticing how dominant those, like, the grips that I was having could be, and I was playing around with seeing how. One of the problems that I was having was that I could never end up in a Keikaiatsu position with him. He was very, very aware, and like, so what I was telling him, and actually later what I was telling Mitchell was like, or if we were, it was just so poorly timed by my part, like here, right? Like, as soon as I start stepping in, do you see how he steps his left leg back?
Yeah.
So I switch, I go right leg forward, and I'm there. So immediately, as soon as I'm thinking about getting into that leg, he's stepping back.
Yeah. Quickly for the uninitiated, Mike saying Kenkaiatsu and Aiatsu, and that's that was new to us. Man, we just started focusing on that maybe like a year or two ago. But it's this idea in judo where you don't talk about right foot forward or left foot forward. You talk about your feet, your stance relative to your opponent's stance. So here, where Mike's front foot is very near to Pat's front foot, so like Mike's right foot forward, Pat is left foot forward, that's Kenkaiatsu. And then Aiatsu is just that shared staggered stance like this. So the feet are kind of equidistant apart. And the reason that's important is it leads to, especially in gi, if you both had your gis on, I think we've seen just how important stance has been with some of the takedowns you and I have worked on over the last couple of years. It leads to it gives you higher percentages on certain takedowns versus others, how your feet measure up next to each other. Like I'll go to hit Tayatoshi, which we learned, I think Bertram had us going over that last week. I'll hit it. I look to hit it from a Kenkaiatsu stance like this, where we're in opposite stances. But something like in a Sotogari, if I can get you off balance really well, I'll look to hit that from an Aiatsu stance, where we have a shared staggered stance. So that's,
and to be fair, like you can hit the throws, or different people can hit the throws from both stances, right? Like you can set up an Osoto from Kenkaiatsu or Aiatsu, but some people have like preferred foot positions that they want to work out of, and it makes it easier for their body positioning or what they feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
And pinball, obviously, step in at any point where we're BSing any of this, which, I mean, it's just from what we've learned in the past year or so, like you said.
Yeah, when Danaher put out his feet to floor series, that was what introduced us to it. Which honestly, I think I know most of you are semi-joking about the made-up words in the Japanese we always do or speak, but the like that idea stuck out to me, how they spoke about relative foot position, and not solely right foot forward or left foot forward. That was a little pearl of wisdom from like the Japanese tradition that I felt like maybe doesn't get emphasized enough. So when I learned that made a lot of sense. It really actually helped out my takedown significantly.
So one thing I was noticing with Mitchell here was he winds up giving me his back in like these duck unders / I can literally just rotate right around his back. So I was doing that a lot to him to kind of just show him the openings that he was giving me. I'll see if I can point him. I think I've already done it a few times here.
That high elbow position he's leaving.
Yeah, he does. He leaves this exactly a high elbow position. It's not really an active elbow to where he's trying to block my shoulders as I'm starting to walk around. And so I can pretty much come around and just circle right around to his back. And so here I'm starting to feel it out again. How I'm starting to get underneath his shoulder. That wound up leading to a snap. I could have snapped him down and taken him down that way. It was just a lot of trying to feel him out and kind of show him where he was leaving some holes in the stand-up.
Yeah, so he's hitting this little like Kosoto kind of foot sweep or foot scoop here.
Yep.
You're not going to get much of a takedown from there typically, unless if he had maybe his right hand here down around the waist and he went into like a falling sort of spin, might be able to do something like that. But that's kind of a sloppy takedown. I don't see it leading to anything but a scramble. I'd rather have something a bit more controlled. From this position though, if Mitchell, if this is something that you find yourself gravitating to and working a lot, couple this with grabbing Mike's ankle as it comes up with your hand. Right now,
he does.
What was that?
He does that right here.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll shut up then.
No, all good. Like
because he's done it a couple times, and I'm like, yeah, right there, perfect. Like, scoop it, feed it to the arm, and then we'll work on finishing singles from behind your opponent. But yeah, that's a useful thing. I mean, a lot of times when I foot sweep people, if that foot comes off the ground, but I don't get them off balance, that's exactly what ends up happening. And I miss a golden opportunity to get an easy single leg. I think we all hate shooting singles and getting sprawled on. So if you could just pick their leg up and then grab it from, a relatively upright position, why not do it?
So he's so the jerking of the head that I was doing, he's like, yeah, why are you doing that?
Okay, so that's what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
It's in the air, Nidan Kosoto, Kaigaki, the other footworks. If it's in the air. So what we're talking about, if we've elevated the foot, then grabbing it from there, I guess, is that move.
Huh. That's crazy. Judo comes with a book, right? You said?
Yeah, the Kodokan. I have it. I bought it like forever ago. It's a nice like glossary. I swear to God, I've left the stream more than once after Pinball has shared some of that stuff with us and immediately gone and pulled it off the bookshelf and looked up those moves. I think the Yoko Wakari was like the first one that I looked at after you mentioned that one.
So now I'm training with Pablo here.
Pablo, yeah.
Pablo was doing a good job of using his frames against me, right? Like these collar ties. You see how he's pulling his elbows down in front of my chest, and in front of my shoulder at the very least, but in front of my chest. It can be very, those are the collar ties that I'm normally more concerned with, because those collar ties I can't come into anymore, right? Like it blocks my body, and then if I back up, he's got a lot of pushing power there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's finding, because he's still, I mean, he's been with us for a few months, but I know his knee had some troubles there soon after he started, so like he I think he's still finding what sort of takedowns he enjoys working, like what sort of stand-up game he wants to play around with. But he's always game to start on the feet, so he'll be learning here in no time. Damn, Pat. Damn, Justin. Let's look at this again. So Pat losing the back here. I like the composure of for Justin here. So this is really cool. I wish we could see, Justin, what you're doing with your right arm a bit more, as far as like making it difficult.
Elbow down.
What was that?
I think his elbow is pointing right and his thumb is pointing into his hip.
Yeah. But I think he switches a lot here. Because I mean, if that's the case, if Justin's thumb is pointing this way, his elbow's pointing this way, Pat's gonna want to break over his left hip.
That's right.
Right. So now it looks like Pat kind of starts making that shift, but Justin has bought himself some time here to get the cross-facing leg off. And kind of do what I've heard it referred to as like a reverse hitchhiker, where you actually you come out on this side rather than the other side, just a form of a turning escape, and then Pat loses the opportunity for that initial arm bar. Rotating my thumb down, had a hard time getting the thumb up, turn my shoulder weight up. Yeah.
Good job, Pat, of noticing that and getting on top. Right, like that's one of those things. All was not lost, right? You could at least get top position there.
And he gets the Americana.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I was talking about this with who was it? It was somebody on Saturday. We were chatting about armbar escapes, and let's see, that might not be a good example. Yeah, so let's think about here for a second. Let's say Justin has, I thought it was paused. Let's say Justin has his arms, fully connected like this. I've been noticing that when somebody has the grip on your arm that they want to break, but it isn't that like it's at the elbow, right? It's that elbow deep grip, elbow to elbow, and they're pulling. They've put tension on your arms. If you open your grip up and they don't have any connection with like your wrist or anything, we'll say south of your elbow towards your hand, if there's no grip there, they're going to have a very difficult time extending the arm the way they want. So when you feel like all they have is that grip at your elbow, you can take the risk to like do what Justin is doing right here. Open up your grip, try to get the cross-face leg off of you, either move it down your body or up over your head, or bring your head inside the legs, whatever you like to do. It isn't until that they have that wrist grip that you really have to start worrying about your grip being open instead of a closed loop. I don't know if that makes any sense, just talking through it, but something to keep in mind for anybody wanting to work on armbar escaping.
can't remember if this was the night or not, but pretty sure I hit a fun. Yeah.
Ninja roll.
I hit that. Yeah, I hit the ninja roll from Turtle.
I don't know if I've ever done it from Turtle outside of drilling.
Yeah, it's an interesting little roll here, but Pablo was actually doing a really good job of not letting me take the back and like with both hooks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do this when somebody's being very painful from Turtle. So notice that I'm stepping back, and I'll make a triangle with my legs here, and I have to make sure that my knee is clear. So my knee is actually in between his legs. It's not all the way in between his thigh.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm rotating and diving for his legs, and then extending the triangle away, and then coming around.
He's like,
and
what the hell?
He said he was going, no, like the whole time that was happening. And then after the finish, he looked at me and he was like, it makes it even worse that you were trying to do that. He was like, I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah,
but it's always fun to hit that from Turtle.
Yeah, it's cool when you can pull out little moves like that against guys who've never seen it before, and
yeah,
it's like jiu-jitsu can be kind of sneaky sometimes.
Yeah, it's the black magic that goes on.
Yeah.
But anybody who's done the ninja roll from half guard or from quarter guard, rather, three-quarter mount, you can do the same thing from turtle position. It's the exact same movement.
Justin looking for a Darce there for a second. At least it seemed that way.
Signature lockdown.
Yeah.
Let's see what Justin's able to do here to get past.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to hit a Darce or anything like that with Pat locking you down in half guard. Ooh, thinking about it.
Yep.
So, my 2 cents here, and this is definitely, I'll call it my game from this position. So, Justin, if you're not the least bit interested in doing this, don't bother. But when someone has me locked down or in a let's say Luke, from his ridiculously tight half guard, I'm gonna have a hell of a time attacking that top arm, right? I'm not going to get subs on him. I'm not going to get any Kimuras that my opponent's going to be worried about. The very best thing I could hope for out of that arm battle is the underhook. And that's what I would focus on here. You just about got one right here. I feel like, I don't know, let me watch this again. I kind of feel like you focus a bit more on the arm attack, like just like that, going for the Americana, which is great if you use it to get an underhook. I don't see you finishing an Americana from there as a legitimate submission, but notice in the attack you get Pat to raise his elbow all the way away from his body. So right there, I would just settle into an underhook, right? Or maybe even a gift wrap from here. I can't say I've done a gift wrap like that. That actually might compromise your base too much. I don't know if I would go for that. But use, if you're gonna fight the arm for these pseudo submissions, use them as a way to get underhooks. Then from there, you flatten him out on his back, go heavy chest to chest, get your cross face. You have your underhook, connect your hands, and then you get to start focusing on extracting your leg, getting your knee free, getting your foot free. It's no easy feat, especially with Pat. I think we've all dealt with that from him. But that's where you can start to, bear down heavy at the shoulders, elevate your hips, try to inch by inch, jump, kip your leg out. All those little things. It'll help. And then when you do get it free, he's flattened out with an underhook. You settle into mount or side control if you want. And you're in a really, really great position rather than having to do what you just did, which was get up, disengage, come back in, and try, passing all over again. it worked for you here. You got around, you know, because you weren't caught in his bear trap of a half guard. But keep that in mind next time. Try not to go for submissions on the arm unless you're using it as a path to an underhook. And then, sorry, I just want to see what they actually did. Before Pat could settle into half guard. Okay, gotcha. Ooh, Mitch on a single. Head on the outside. And then Mitch, for these single legs, you're kind of doing it here. I would love to see you just drive through Danny like a train.
Yep.
To get that leg light. That's an essential part of this. You don't see wrestlers shooting singles and then standing still and just picking a leg up or not moving quickly. They generate a lot of movement, and that makes legs very light, very easy to pick up. Is that Steven and Mitch? Who's Mitch? Or I'm sorry, Pat. Who's Pat rolling with?
Oh,
is that you? Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't think Steven was even there. I don't know who would be more insulted that I mistook you guys for each other. Looks like Steven is. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, Pat came around and passed my guard pretty effortlessly there. It was really nice. We were talking about it afterward, how he's, you know, it was more Toriando. He does a really good job of blocking, framing my hips to where I can't turn into him and regain my guard. But yeah, it was a solid pass. He was threatening the north-south stroke as well.
So I have a question for you, and I guess for the chat as well. For times like this when it happens, everybody takes their gi top off. Nobody's playing old school pajama jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Do you grab the pants when you go to pass? If people have their gi pants on.
Yeah. As the purist that I am, I abstain.
Okay.
I do not grab the pants when I'm doing the passing.
That's the correct answer.
But yeah, I don't mind if people do that to me.
Yeah, it's kind of where I'm at on it. It depends on the belt level. Like if it's white belts doing it to me, I certainly don't care. Yeah, I don't grab the pants either. But when people start doing it to me a lot, then I start doing it, and then we even the play. It's like if you grab single digits on me, I'll let you. I'll just do it back, and I'll do it a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair, Pinball. I probably would grab your pants, Peters.
Yeah.
If I just couldn't get past your guard, and I was like, well, if I go into a leg lock, he's just gonna counter me. So.
They're there. So.
I feel like Caleb's done it to me before. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but I'm pretty sure. Maybe back in the day. What about grabbing?
I'm pretty sure you would do that to me later on this roll.
Yeah. For grabbing your own pants, depends on how close to being tapped I am, Pat, and how embarrassed I'd be if my opponent tapped me.
Yeah.
Jordan, yes, 100%. Yeah. Summon the great Eddie Bravo. Just pass around them. Grab their leggings too, their spats.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously though, for grabbing your own pants, I don't know. I kind of just maybe I do. Can't say I thought
I
about
grab
that
my
one.
thigh. I'll grab thigh and stuff. I'll be honest, and I think anybody who trains with me knows that I really dislike gi grips. Just because like my left hand can't close all the way, right? Like, it's not worth it to me anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't grip the gi very much. I seriously pinball it, and I'm sure you, being judo or a judoka, would empathize, right? Like, I seriously can't close my hands, like my fingers don't touch anymore.
That's wild. I did not know that.
Yep.
Huh.
This hand's totally fine. I can make this,
okay.
and then this one I
got
can't.
you. Okay, I see what you mean. Interesting. I grab my own no-gi shorts, so I do grab my own gi pants when I wear them, because it's I definitely do. Now that I think about it, because I don't hesitate to do it in no-gi, grab my own clothes. So yeah, I'll definitely grab my own gi pants. Would you grab your own shorts? Yes. Yeah, exactly, Jordan. Back to ooh. Did you ever suffer golfer's elbow?
Have it currently in this arm.
There you go. I think Eddie was able to grab his own pants. Spoiler. I'll have to go back and watch that fight. I haven't watched that match in a long time. The Eddie Bravo Hoyler match. While I'm here, pause. I'm gonna hide you for a second. Just
I met him, Morris. Yeah.
Just looking at Pat, or looking at Mitch and Danny here. So Mitch is in a good leg lock position. Just I don't think he's familiar with what to do here on the leg. So right now he has the leg on the bottom side. If he took his right arm and pushed that leg to the top side, that's what's going to open up very, very easy heel exposure. If he did that and then tucked Danny's toes into his armpit so that his foot was pointing this way, that's going to give him an outside heel hook. This backside 50-50, I guess, outside heel hook. But instead, keeping that leg down, Danny's not in any real danger at all. Right here, as he starts to slip the heel, that's the time to do it. It almost looks like Mitch wants to. I know he's not super well versed in heel hooks yet, at least certainly not from that position. But Mitch, if you're watching, that's something to look for next time. Yeah, did Danny? I think Danny countered him.
Yeah, he did.
Just a straight ankle. Yeah. Pat looking for the north-south on you.
Yep. Trying to get out. He was not having it.
Man, I don't think I've ever seen you get strangled with a north-south. Like, I don't think I've ever seen you get tapped out with that.
Yeah, it's
maybe Luke.
Like Luke. Yeah, Luke, I think has. Actually, Mitch, wrestler Mitch, got me once with a north-south choke. It was brutal. I was not expecting it at all.
Yeah, I think he started to fold that into his routine. He liked Darce's and then north-south.
Yep. I think this round was just Justin and Austin, I believe, and I think me and Caleb close it out after they're done.
Yeah, Marcelo. I don't know how he did it as well as he did. He was a big inspiration for you back in like blue belt days, right? With like north-south position and all that.
North, south, butterfly. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff that I tried to emulate from him. Unsuccessfully, but.
So is Justin just getting like unarm barrable now?
Yeah, I mean, I know that's like one of Pritt's big, I guess, claims to fame is that he. So I don't know, Justin. Are you using Pritt's escapes from there? Because I know he says that arm bars are kind of his bread and butter to escape from.
And Justin's just like he's giving the arm when the arm gets taken, he's not fighting to get it back. He's fighting to control leg position as he manages to get back to a safer posture. It's really
and notice he does
looks
the
awesome.
exact same thing with his thumb. Sorry, I interrupted.
No. Let's go back.
His thumb and elbow position are the same. So he has his elbow pointing towards the door, his thumb pointing towards his own hips, or trying to get it pointed down to the mat, frankly. Which is the same way that he had it in the previous role with Pat.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's the reverse hitchhiker.
Yeah, and while I'm thinking about it, there's kind of a general rule that when you are going to break an arm, and we're going to talk a bit more from like an advanced perspective, not the, point the thumb to the ceiling, hip up into it. When you really want to break an arm, you don't break that way. You tend to break over the hip. But the rule here is if you're breaking, well, we'll use this one. Austin is breaking or trying to break Justin's left arm. Austin needs to be breaking over his own left hip. If you're breaking the right arm, you break over your right hip, and that's the rule for like the standard armbar, the Juji Gatami armbar, the cross side armbar position. When we start talking like triangles and like the triangle bar or whatever you want to call it, it reverses. That's not the rule you want to follow. But the reason I bring that up is in order to break, in this case, in order for Austin to break over his left hip, he wants Justin's thumb pointing towards the door, right? If you think about that, that would make his elbow, that would put the point of his elbow in this direction. It doesn't want to bend that way, so that'll give him the angle that he needs for hyperextension. So with Justin forcing his hand to turn the other way, where now his thumb points this way, his elbow points to the door. I'm not going to say that Austin can't take it back over his right hip, but it's not going to be as mechanically effective or efficient as it would be if he was breaking over his left hip here. So Justin's like buying himself time in manipulating his arm to a spot where he can then get the posture back, everything we pointed out before, control the legs, all that stuff. So it's such a dangerous little battle, or at least it feels dangerous when you are first working on late stage armbar escapes. Definitely be ready to tap if you guys want to practice that. Steven about broke my arm. I don't know if that was today or yesterday, but super deep armbar. Absolutely had to tap. Couldn't manipulate my way out of it. Or maybe I don't know. Steven's armbarred me a couple times lately. One was the worst one I've ever been in.
That was on the last stream, I think, right?
Maybe, yeah. It was either the last one or a few weeks ago. I guess the more recent time I'm thinking of, I did manage to get out, but it was very deep. Austin looking for the arm grab off the leg weave.
Like the knee position. His left knee coming up to Justin's hip.
Mm-hmm.
Justin finding the Kimura.
See if he Kimura traps him.
Want to see extension away. Justin, you want to be shoving his hand into his pocket, like into his hips.
This looks promising.
This does look promising.
Got to use those legs. He's trying.
There you go.
Step
Okay.
out, step over the head. Austin doing a good job here.
Yeah, it's not impossible to finish from half guard, but it's not easy either.
Justin, that was a really good attempt.
Very nice. I like that. And that would be a sweep because that's half guard to half guard. That was nice.
See you, Jordan. Take it easy, bud.
Later, Jordan. Austin, I want you thinking about the underhook more so than anything here. That was a really good opportunity to hit that underhook from half guard.
What are you talking about?
So when he goes, go back to when he was in lockdown, or in the Scorpion, whatever you want to call it. There, right? So he swings the legs to the right. So he's using great. We went over this actually in class that night. Danny taught it, and I was telling Austin that you won't just be able to, throw your hips to the right if you don't pendulum your legs against a larger opponent. And frankly, everybody's larger than Austin, so he should be doing that every single time,
Mm-hmm.
And so he does a really good job here of getting to his right hip, and you can see that his left elbow, it's under Justin, but it's not trapped under Justin. He could have easily swam his left arm under, and got up and heisted up to an elbow here. I would have really liked to see him do that, and I think he could have come up and wrestled up.
Yeah.
So he switches, and see now he's in a very good half guard, but his underhook is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
It's collapsed underneath his body.
Yeah, that's not a good spot.
I would like to see him take it, swim across, Justin's right side, get the underhook, and then wrestle up. Now me and Caleb are going at it.
You better not do anything cool behind the pillar. Oh, I've never seen Caleb try to Uchimata before.
Yeah,
it shows that he never does them because it sucked, but honestly, I'm not upset about that. About the attempt. That's how it starts, right?
Yeah.
You know what? I wish he would have bent his knee a little bit more.
If he had my far, he had my far wrist. I stripped the grip as he was pulling me, and I think that's what kept me with my weight back and able to pop his elbow off of my head.
Yeah, and even if you did get the throw here, you would have been able to base out. If you would have attacked the other leg,
like, was that a Haragoshi?
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about, Pinball?
Land on my ribs.
Dude, no kidding. So Steven, I'm nursing my left shoulder here, and I was like very hyper aware that I was gonna get tossed, and like whatever progress I've made on my shoulder was gonna go out the window during this roll.
Yeah, that's frightening. Huge improvements to my Uchimata when someone told me to go between the legs but aim for the opposite leg.
Interesting. Do you think is it because of the angle? Because so the reason I ask is because Craig Jones, when he does his power bottom series, right? He talks about how a lot of people go straight up the middle instead of catching the hamstring for the Uchimata. Sweep the inner thigh of the opposite leg.
So in this case, Caleb's leg would be against your right leg, the inner thigh of your right leg. So rather than trying to what I'm interpreting is rather than trying to like think about picking this hip up, not the leg, but like picking the hip joint of the left leg up, aim for the hip joint of the right leg. In this case, I think that's what Pinball's saying. Correct me if I'm wrong. That seems like such a subtle, like we're talking inches of difference there, but getting more power out of it. Interesting. That's really cool. I'll have to try that.
You have to show me. I don't think I'm understanding.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about.
Next time in class. Okay. Tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah. And I like. That's cool because I'm trying to work more Haragoshi, because I feel like I don't always get the height, like the elevation of the hips, for the Uchimata, but I feel like again, even as subtle as of a difference that is, I might be able to eke out a little bit more height going for the right hip, because it seems like it's lower, but maybe that's not even the mechanic. But I don't know. That's gonna be fun to try. Thanks, Pinball. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man. Like, yeah, really appreciate all the tips. I think we say it every time, but we mean it every time, for sure.
Until people start doing it to me, then I'm gonna put you in timeout so you can't tell us secrets.
Yeah, really.
Caleb's guard has gotten remarkably better too. I gotta give him some credit for that. Like, not the way, I mean, just that little turn into you that he did there a second ago to stay regarded. There were simple moves that he wasn't making, 6 months ago or whenever.
So I'm waiting for the Makikomi that he does, which he just hit me with, right? But I'm waiting for it every single time, because I'm having a really, he senses, or he feels where my arm is, and he just comes up and just grabs it, and rolls.
Yeah, if you find a good link, Pinball, post it. I don't know if it may get censored out in the chat. I don't know if our chat allows links. Might be able to change that on the fly. Let's see. I don't know, whatever. If you find something, go ahead and paste it in the chat. Oh, okay. Cool.
So, yeah, this was a fun part of the round. So, another thing that I've learned is that by me trying to stand up here, as much as it looks like there's a lot of energy in what I'm doing, there's hardly anything in what I'm trying to do here. All I'm trying to do is stand up.
You're just posturing.
That's it. That's all I'm doing. And every time I posture up and I get my head above Caleb's head, I'm putting pressure down on him. Mm-hmm. So when he's actually doing a mat return to me, he has to use a lot of energy, and it's a lot of strength that he's trying to use to throw me down. And I'm literally just doing it because I know he can't hold me down if I, continuously stand up. And I'm just wearing him down little by little. It looks horrible because it looks like he's just ragdolling me, but I have no points being scored on me at this point, because I'm not, down and on the mat necessarily. I'm just getting mat returned and then standing back up. Mm-hmm. And then all the while, I'm kind of just working his energy levels down to where I can come back in, and I think eventually I get into a front headlock position, or maybe even top. I'm not sure.
Just wanted to hide the chat so they can see Danny's nasty little. This is almost what one of the twins was doing earlier in his step around armbar.
Oh yeah.
Right, where he gets the head position, but then he falls backwards. But Danny uses this to set up a triangle.
Oof.
This looks like the nastiest neck crank I feel like you could be put in, because I don't see a connection with the neck here. Like on the side where like Danny's calf is, the side that we see. I imagine
it's like the ear.
Yeah, and I imagine Austin's shoulder is in a good spot. Like the shoulder is in the spot to cut off the carotid artery. I could be wrong, and if this was a strangle, it's an awesome one. But it also just looks terribly miserable to be caught in. Good at improvising.
You can't see it, but I actually worked my way on top. Here. Yep.
Looks like you're trying to break him down to a hip
So
rather than
bad.
using like the power half.
I know if I go around for the power half, he's gonna take me over.
Yeah,
like he's gonna hit that Comey.
Yep. Danny with the Darce. Just look for the setup here. So Danny was using the Darce threat as a pass from half guard, something we know he loves to do. And it looks like he gets I think he gets a 10-finger grip here, yeah. So instead of just shooting to the Darce, which maybe he wasn't able to do because Austin was like posturing up, he gets just like a 10-finger grip, bends Austin's head underneath his chest, and then eventually shifts his grip to what he really wants. Austin putting up a good fight.
Danny showed this that night. He actually taught that night. So he was probably just trying to prove a point. It's a requirement for anyone who teaches. Whatever you teach, you have to show live.
That's right. Until you get to brown belt, and then you go, oh, I've done this so many times. This is what I do when I do it.
Yeah, right.
Even if you've never done it.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff.
It's a fun night.
Cool. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us on your Sunday night. Hope you all had a good weekend. And hope you guys are ready to get back to some training. I know we mentioned it at class. We've brought it up a little bit here and there on the stream, but we have Naga January 14th. Thank you, Steven. Thanks for hanging out, man.
Thank you.
So yeah, anybody who wants to compete January 14th, you guys better be at class, putting the reps in, all that good stuff. Thank you guys. Make sure you've told one of the coaches that you want to compete if you do, and we'll make sure you're squared away.
Yep.
Pinball, thanks as always, man. Really, really appreciate it. Got a lot of fun new stuff to study, so I love it.
Absolutely.
What else? Anything else?
Nah, back at class tomorrow, like you said.
Cool. All right. I will. I'm going to be teaching Tuesday, so I'll probably force you guys to wear your gi. So keep that in mind. See you later, Paul. Pat, not Paul. Your screen name trips me up every time, even though it says you're not Paul. In any case, follow us here if you're not. Subscribe if you can, if you like what we're doing. You could also support us at coffee.com/MOBJJ. Use your Twitch Prime here if you haven't. We really appreciate the support. And then go support us over at YouTube by subscribing there, where we'll post this video for you guys to review. I know who Paul Morphy is, Pat, only because you already told me. It still confuses me though. What else? Anything else? I think that's pretty much it. So yeah, cool. Go trim your nails and do your laundry, and don't be stinky. Get back to class, and we will see you guys there. Take it easy.
Later.